Sunday will mark the 15th anniversary of the 9/11 terrorist attacks that shook our country to its core. Former New York City Police Commissioner Ray Kelly joins me right now. And Ray, it's great to see you. Thank you so much for joining us.
Good to be with you, Maria.
You know, you were commissioner, what, just a few months after 9/11 occurred?
Correct. The Bloomberg administration came in 3.5 months after 9/11.
You released your memoir last year, Vigilance, My Life Serving America and Protecting Its Empire City. This week, this bestseller is being re-released with an added new chapter dedicated to the latest terrorist attacks and threats. Commissioner, tell us why you put this new chapter in and why we are still so vulnerable now, 15 years later.
Well, it was an effort to contemporize the book. So much has happened during the last year and a half. I want to try to bring it up to date. Subjects such as Omar Mateen, the shooter in Orlando, the Pulse nightclub. You know, he was investigated by the FBI. He was taken off the terrorist watch list. Obviously, that was a mistake. Hindsight is 20/20. Jim Comey said that he would re-examine that whole process. I think the Attorney General's guidelines are too restrictive on the FBI. They put time limits on these investigations. This young man obviously should not have been taken off the terrorist watch list. So we addressed those issues.
And you also addressed, look, we've had a new wave of terrorist attacks, right? Paris, Brussels, San Bernardino, Orlando, elsewhere. Since you first published this book, it feels like it's getting worse.
Well, it's certainly not getting better. And what we've seen is the threat sort of broaden, not necessarily deepen, but broaden. San Bernardino was a particular concern because San Bernardino was a nice city, but it wasn't on anybody's terrorist target list that we knew of. 200,000 people, working class community. So it sort of shows us that the whole United States is in play, if you will. So we have to do more in the suburban areas and in even rural areas to protect resources. That
was an extraordinary day, obviously, and everybody has their own 9/11 story. But what was it like for you to take over 3.5 months after the attacks? What did you see on the ground? What did you see in terms of our police force and our preparedness?
Well, it was a daunting task for the entire administration, not just the police department. We knew that we had to do something more. I was the commissioner in 1993 when the first World Trade Center attack took place.
Right.
And we had the second horrific event. So we knew we had to buttress our defenses. We had to supplement what the FBI was doing. So we brought in experts from the federal government, from other agencies. We brought in students from some of the top Ivy League schools to work as analysts for us. We ultimately assigned police officers overseas in 11 cities to act as listening posts and tripwires for the city. And we devoted over 1,000 police officers every day to counterterrorism efforts.
And as we approach this anniversary on Sunday, it's really important for our viewers and the public at large to acknowledge our incredible heroes in the New York Police Department, in the New York Fire Department, all those emergency crews that as people were coming out of the buildings, they were going in the buildings.
343 firefighters lost their lives, 37 Port Authority police officers, 23 New York City police officers, and it's something that those agencies will never forget, but we hope the public never forgets as well.
Exactly. The House is scheduled to vote today, ahead of Sunday's anniversary, on a bill that allows 9/11 victims' families to sue Saudi Arabia in U.S. courts. What do you make of this news?
Well, why not, I guess, is the question.
They were
shouldn't they be able to do it? 15 of the 19 hijackers were from Saudi Arabia. I mean, if there's no case there, then fine, let the court dismiss it. But at least allow these cases to go forward. It's common sense.
Right. People want to know why so many of those terrorists were Saudis and whether or not the government there was involved.
Right.
What about the Obama administration shutting down the prison camp at Guantanamo Bay? That's another one of our headlines this morning. Do you think President Obama will close Gitmo before leaving office completely? That's obviously been his stated goal. What are the implications of that?
Well,
a lot of those guys are going back to the fight.
I think he's certainly going to try. I personally don't see the problem with Guantanamo Bay. There's some really very dangerous people there, including Khalid Sheikh Mohammed. Congress doesn't want this to happen, so it's obviously another tug-of-war between Congress and the president. I don't see what the problem is. People said, well, it's a symbol of harsh treatment. There's no harsh treatment down there. As a matter of fact, someone told me they went there, and Khalid Sheikh Mohammed has an exercise machine that's the same one that's in his gym here in New York City. So they're treated very well in Guantanamo Bay.
So we're trying to figure out why he wants to close it and force all of these maniacs to go back to the fight. And where do you store, or where do you put these guys who are, in fact, terrorists?
Yeah, well, I think what they would do is put them in federal prisons in the United States, and a lot of people don't want them in their neighborhood. So I personally don't see why this is such an important issue. Let
me ask you about this, a display of Coca-Cola cans at a Florida Wal-Mart. It's been taken down after social media reacted to this offensive display, they called it, mimicking the American flag and the Twin Towers. Both Coca-Cola and Walmart have apologized. Do you think this is bothersome?
Yes, I do. You know,
it's sort of a mockery.
It was done, I think, with good intentions,
yeah.
But it commercializes a very solemn event. I mean, if you lost loved ones in 9/11, you saw something like that, of course you'd be upset. So yeah. I just, you know, sort of, what were they thinking of when they did it? But, yeah, it's the appropriate thing to take that down.
And this is a very sensitive subject. In your book, including the new chapter, you deal with not just, you know, terrorism the way we've seen it, but terrorism online, cyber versus on the ground. What can you tell us in terms of what's most important for us to understand about the fight today, about what we're dealing with and the threats out there?
I can tell you the cyber threat is only getting more complex, more demanding on all of us to protect ourselves. It's very difficult to play defense in the cyber world. The U.S. can play offense, shutting down a country even, but for us to defend ourselves is very, very challenging. You saw what the Russians did with the Democratic National Committee, how they got in there, and the Iranians got into a dam that we had here.
Yeah, they leaked all those emails.
Yeah. So it's only going to get worse. And what can we do personally? You've got to be alert for phishing. Phishing is where you'll get something on the screen that looks very much, let's say, like your bank statement, asking you for your password, asking you for personal information. You have to guard against that. You have to have a complex password, and you have to change it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a pain in the neck.
Sometimes
I know that.
You even get an email, and it could be somebody in your Rolodex that you know,
That's
and
right.
It's a letter from that person saying, I'm in wherever, I need money,
yeah.
Can you just wire it to me? And I'm thinking to myself, my friend or whoever that would never send me such a letter.
Right, right. They get a lot of information from Facebook. They'll go and they'll scrub through Facebook, look for personalized information, send you a message, put an attachment to this message that you want to make you open it, and then that's where malware gets into your company's system, into your own personal system. So it is a very difficult area. We all have to be alert for it, and CEOs, you know, people in charge of companies have to be in the game. A lot of times they're sort of relegated to their chief information people. No good. You need a CEO to push these issues throughout the company.
You've got to be constantly on guard.
Yeah, right.
It's pretty incredible. Commissioner, great to see you.
Good to see you,
Thank you so much, and thank you for your service to our great country. Commissioner Ray Kelly there.